Lifeboat Live, we have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck. Good evening, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and you're on the lifeboat. I want to thank everybody that reached out and asked me how I was doing. Last night, I was just talking with my bobble-headed partner and trying to explain a little of the people. I got onto this kick in about 2014. And it was they were just coming out with the books, Sitting is the New Smoking, and talking about these people that, spend a lifetime sitting in chairs, talking about telephones or doing whatever they do, and how bad it is for the human anatomy. It's not a great thing for your body. So I was, the award of the federal government, and I just made my mind up that I wasn't going to sit. And if you've ever been around me, and some people have, I squat down. I get into a sort of the squatting position, and I could sit like that for hours. I'm very, very comfortable. I watch TV that way. And then about 4 months ago, I started a watch business, and I don't just buy and sell watches. I spend a very decent amount of time repairing them. I'm becoming something of a watchsmith. Unfortunately, or I don't know. I mean, I guess not too. It's part of the deal. You have to sit, and you don't just have to sit. You have to be hunched over. I was telling Mark, I'm basically putting together a puzzle that sits between a top plate and a bottom plate. Right? They're terribly small. You have to, use magnifying glasses, and in some cases, even like the what do they call those things, Mark? That you kind of adjust, like scientists use all the time. Microscopes. They actually have microscopes for the watches because certain things, if they're damaged, you can't see it even with magnification. You need a microscope. So I spend, 8-9 hours a day if I'm, working on a particular piece, hunched over, and my body. So going back about 3 or 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had this terrible pain in my chest, and like I was ready to head to the ER. I was in really bad shape, and as it turned out, it was not anything. It was just muscular. And it went away. I started to spend a lot more time selling and buying, and a lot more time, talking to people about watches. And I sit down for about an hour a day when I'm doing the lifeboat. But my partner's back in town, and I spent probably 36 hours over the course of 3 days seated in a chair with my headgear on, which is this thing that it's got like 4 different forms of magnification on it, and then it has a loop that comes over. So it basically makes really small things this big when you look at them. And I was working on a couple of vintage timepieces that are really, really, if you look at this is a very small little thing, right? And there's 160 parts inside of it. So you spend a lot of time hunched over, and it has just absolutely destroyed this part of my body. And yesterday morning, when I woke up, I thought I was going to die. It was just one of those feelings. And I thought, well, I've been here before. This happened 3 weeks ago, blah, blah, blah. And I took some NSAIDs, and I was doing pretty good throughout most of the day. And I started to hurt again maybe an hour before we went live. And I thought, well, I'll just sort of tough my way through it. People, we really do try as hard as we can to never cancel a show. We've come to realize through, just having done this a long time, that I can honestly count on, how many times somebody has relapsed because we didn't do a show. And it really has become one of those things that it's such a part of everybody's routine to concentrate on their sobriety for an hour, every day. And for a lot of people, this is the time of day where they might make a mistake. So the last thing in the world we want to do, either of us, is cancel a show, or just, we really bust our hump to make sure that doesn't happen. So last night I thought, I got this. And right at the beginning, Mark said to me, you don't look good. And I said, nah, you know what? It was hurting to breathe, but I thought it's only an hour. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. And truthfully, about 15, 20 minutes into it, I probably should have just called it a wrap. But I continued to try. And then Mark just, you can't hear Mark when he talks to me. But as I was talking to you, Mark just popped in my ear and he's like, look, man, I'm pulling the plug on this. You look like you're going to die. And which I appreciate. I really do. I was fighting there at the end. And I'm not 100% today, people. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I am. I'm still sort of struggling with this, but I am considerably better than I was yesterday. And, last night when the show was over, I went and laid down and didn't get up until about 5 this morning. And I think it did me some good. And I have not been in a seated position today once. And so I think I'm ready to go. I think I'm as good as I'm going to be, and I know that we can press through this thing. So I want to thank everybody again for reaching out to me and being concerned. It really does touch you, when you get a lot of people that tell you they're praying for you or they're worried about you, and it's humbling. It's one of those things about, running a YouTube channel, at least running this YouTube channel. I don't know how it is with other channels. I'd like to believe we're a little different. I know we're a little different. We're a lot different, but it really was humbling. And I want to thank everybody that did that, but I'm doing better. People, today, we're talking about a subject that we've broken up many times before, but I don't know that we've ever wrapped this thing up in one package. I had an unusual series of events happen in the last couple of days that sort of hammer home, and very often whatever's happening in my life ends up the subject matter here on the Lifeboat. And for those of you who have been here long enough, I love you too, Flaming Jackson. That's from the bottom of my heart. I love you, brother. For those of you who have been here a long time, you know that the Lifeboat went through a period of time where there was a group of people, fairly decent sized group of people, 20 or 30 of them, that just decided I was just one rung above Hitler in terms of just being evil. And I was accused of everything but being the second shooter on the grassy knoll at in Dealey Plaza when JFK got shot. But other than that, I was basically accused of every single thing you could think of. And, at the very beginning, it really affected us. I'm not going to lie to you. It was something that drove me. Really, it upset me. And I think it upset me most because it was, I thought it was unjust. I thought it was one of those things that just wasn't fair. And the longer that I'm sober, the more I realize that there are certain expressions that people on this planet should never utter, right? And people in recovery should utter them even a little less. And one of those expressions would be, it's not fair. We come to believe when we get sober that everything is going to get better. And we're going to, we tie all of the bad stuff in our life to what it is that we've been doing, right? So, all of the bad stuff in my life, that was heroin's fault. And that's pretty legit, people. I mean, when I look back on my life, the majority of things that were going wrong, I could track directly to that substance and my abuse of it. So, you spend 30 years realizing that, well, you just lost a marriage, or, you're not seeing your kids, or, you lost your home, or all of the different things. Emma Hunt, good to see you, my friend. You start thinking about all of these things and you think, boy, if I could make that heroin go away, then everything will be perfect. And as we've said, that's not the case. If you make that heroin go away, you're clean, which is a hell of a start, people. It really is. It's a hell of a start, but it's not going to make everything perfect. And you're going to deal with the trials and tribulations of living a life. And you're going to deal with those without the crutch that you've been leaning on for the entire time that you've been an addict. And one of the things that that you're going to deal with, something that's going to come up throughout your entire sobriety, is dealing with how others treat you and how others view you. And you get to this point where you go, man, I'm not doing the things I used to do, right? I'm not robbing banks. I'm not stealing from people. I'm not getting high. I'm not lying. They're all of these things that I've eliminated. And the first time somebody accuses you of doing something, I mean, hell, your whole life, people have been talking about what a liar you are. Your whole life, people have been talking about what a degenerate you are. And it's just like water off of the duck's back. Who cares, right? You do the next shot and you laugh at him. What does he know? And you just keep going about your business because nothing bothers you when you're on your substance of choice. That's why we do them, right? Because it takes away all of those feelings and all of those pressures and all those problems. So once we're sober, we feel like they have no right, to be accusing me of this, or this. I don't do that anymore. Or they have no right to say this about me. My motives are pure. People are going to say whatever they want about you. And the beautiful thing is, you're probably never going to deal with it on a stage like YouTube, right? Where when someone decides to say something crappy about you, 185 people see it, and then they share it and they share it and they share it. And that is out there in cyberspace, and it's never going to go away. And you start thinking about that, and it weighs on you. Well, for those people who have been on the boat a long time, on December 1st, I said, you know what? I am never going to look at anything anyone ever says about me ever again. I'm not going to go over to those channels. I'm not going to watch any of that garbage, because I sit and I tell everybody, garbage in, garbage out. Like I had this whole routine that I talk about, and then I would sneak over just to read the thumbnails, or I would ask anybody, I had really stopped looking about the last, about the first or second week in November, but I wasn't watching the videos, but I would check the thumbnails. Or if I knew somebody that would go over there all the time, I'd say, hey, so what's so-and-so been saying about me? I was 1 foot in and 1 foot out, right? I had made my mind up that I wasn't going to allow these kind of things to bother me anymore, but I still wanted to know what they were saying. And that wasn't a possibility, people. If I buy into this crap, and if I let myself go and check it out, or I ask what people are saying, you can't have 1 foot in and 1 foot out of sobriety, of honesty, of anything. You make a decision and you go with it. So on December the 1st, I did a show and I said, I'm going to start my New Year's resolutions today, right? I was getting really beefy. I was starting to put a lot of weight back on. And I said, I'm going to get my weight down, and I am never going to go over there ever again. I'm not going to look at thumbnails. I'm not going to ask people. And if somebody sends me an email that says, hey, I just thought you'd like to know, I don't know why I would want to know, but I just thought you'd like to know what so-and-so had put up there about you. I said, if somebody sends me one of those, they get one warning. And then after that, I'm just going to block them, because that was a thing that was constantly happening. So, and I did. I eliminated it. I stuck with that New Year's resolution. I mean, viciously stuck with it. And then this morning I got an email, and that email said, I think you're in jeopardy. I think you have something you need to be worried about. Somebody that dislikes you went on a big rant, and then went a little bit further to say that he had an address and he was heading out to basically, go and hurt you. Now, the truth of the matter is, I don't know if he said that. I don't. They sent me a link. I didn't watch it. So maybe he said that. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it was just one of these people that want me to look at something. Even if he did, people, you have to get to a point in life where you're so comfortable with who you are that you don't take any of that crap in. There's cliches are cliches for a reason. We've talked about this, right? There's a reason something is a cliche. And the reason is it makes so much damn sense that it gets repeated so damned often that it becomes a damn cliche. All right. One of them is you don't let people rent space in your head. You've heard that, right? And I don't. I shot the person back an email and I just said to them, it occurs to me that you wouldn't have come across this if you weren't a fan of this individual. Now, I haven't watched him in a long time, but for the last 6 or 7 months, every day, this guy wishes that I die, right? Something he's very vocal about. But now, out of the blue, you're concerned. If by some chance this guy ever wanted to come and cause me harm, the person that sent me that email would be complicit in it. Because by buying into hate, right, you're fostering that crap. If you buy into that kind of stuff, you create these people. Now, in the real life, how does this apply? You don't have to buy into anything that someone thinks about you, that someone says about you, and we get this indignity, we get all indignant and we say, well, I'm not going to allow, you're not going to allow it. What are you going to cut their tongue out? Honestly, what are you going to do? Remove them from the planet? There is nothing we can do as sober people to control what people think about us. It's impossible. We can't control what people say about us. Impossible. You want to contact a lawyer? You want to see about maybe suing somebody for slander? Give that a try. Let me know how that works out. Seriously, because while I was allowing things to bother me, I researched all of that stuff. Now, say whatever you want. I don't care. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, my friend. Now I just don't worry about it, people. And I'm not saying that for anybody's benefit. But this is one of the few times where I'm telling you that I am patting myself on the back. I really am. Because this was a huge step for me. This was something that drastically changed my life. There was a period of time, people, where the only reason there was still a lifeboat is because my bobbleheaded partner talked me into sticking with this on 4 or 5 occasions. And it wasn't because I didn't like what I was doing. It wasn't because I got so wrapped up in what people said about me or what people thought about me. And the incredible thing is what they were saying was horse feces. It really was. And in my head, and I promise you, this is an affectation of sobriety for me, because the old drug addict guy wouldn't have cared at all. Who cares? I'm high. But as this new creation, this new person, this better version of myself, I got real indignant if somebody said something about the new me. But the truth is, people, as it is with everything in life, 5% of what happens and 95% of how you react to it. So the email I got this morning, for about 40 seconds, I started to fall right back into the same. And I promise you, it wasn't more than 40 seconds. And I caught myself and I chuckled and just said, you know what? Who cares? If he's in the vehicle on his way here, who cares? All I can do is the 95% of what's going on in life. I can't sit and worry about every single thing that is someone says, someone does. Well, if it comes to my front door, hey, God be with them. Honestly, you prepare for the things in life that you could prepare for, but you can't let other people rent space in your head. Ask yourself this question and be really, really honest. How many times in the last week have you said, so-and-so makes me, and then finish that sentence any way you want, right? So-and-so makes me so angry. So-and-so makes me so upset. So-and-so makes me so sad. So-and-so makes me, nobody makes you anything. And we talked about this a lot in the beginning of the lifeboat, but it's probably been a while since we visited it. Nobody makes you anything. How you choose to react to what people say. So in day-to-day life, if you're not running a YouTube channel, you're probably dealing with a little less hate than the average guy who's sitting in front of one of these microphones. But it's the same microcosm, and I hope you understand that. If somebody decides that that Tommy Scoville is a degenerate, a drug addict, a thief, a bestiality, whatever else they decide to throw on me, I know though none of those things are true. I know that that's not me, right? So the question becomes, why do I allow myself to buy into it? You got to sit back and detach yourself from the situation. And I say, why would somebody say something about me that wasn't true? And you know what it comes down to, people? Always, always comes down to jealousy. It really does. I mean, there are people who are mean just for the sake of mean, but for the most part, what you come across is people who don't like the things that you're doing, and they don't like them because they wish they were doing it. I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to do anything, because the truth of the matter is I wouldn't be where I am right now without my brother and without Mark. I would be doing exactly what I'm doing. I'd be sitting in front of a microphone, and I probably have about 150 subscribers. That's the truth. I got a hell of a jump start because two of my friends, well, a brother and a friend, have very large YouTube channels. And both of them were quite willing to talk about what was happening on the lifeboat. And that was a shot to this channel that really got things rolling. So I'm not sitting here and telling you that, they're jealous because I was able to build a huge channel. No, but they are jealous because I have a huge channel. And huge is always relative, right? If you have 2 million subscribers, that guy, whatever his name is, the video guy playing PewDiePie, something like that. Yeah, there you go. He's looking at you and going, you don't have a huge channel. But the people that decided to hate me were people that had channels of, 150, 200 or whatever. And they had been doing it for a long time. So when the new kid came into town and started to get a lot of people really quick, and 75, 80 days, we were monetized. So I became the greediest person in the world who was only doing this for money. And the funny thing, people, is you just live your best life. You do what you know is right. And you don't have to worry about the things that people say or think about you. Because you know what happens? Everything they say gets proven wrong. Seriously, if you're doing the right thing, everything you say gets proven wrong. He'll be dead by February. He's going to overdose, be found dead with a needle in his arm. He's only doing live feeds and claiming to help people because he needs the 4,000 hours. He's going to stop that before Christmas. Right? All of the things that they said out of jealousy. But Mark and I knew what the mission of this channel was. Mark and I knew it didn't have squat to do with cash. And they just went out, and the lies just got bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, if you just watched their channel and you never saw any of ours, and I'm telling you stuff from 5 months ago, because on my life, I never went back. But they would say that I would come on the air and say, you people need to donate some money if the lifeboat is going to continue to go. Like, they told everybody that was part of every show. And you start saying to yourself, man, I never said that. That's not fair. He makes me so, come on, fair? And he doesn't make me anything. None of those people make me anything. And the great thing is, people, we got off the beaten path. We really did. We allowed this. I did more than anything. I allowed this to get me off the beaten path. And we moved the channel, and we started to really change what our goal was. Based on what? Jack wagons that just wanted to say whatever it is that they were going to say about us. Nothing that we were going to do, we're going to change those people. So you start having to, honestly, logic makes every one of these things go away. It does. And I mean fast, because you sit back logically and you say, these are not the people that we started the lifeboat for. We started the lifeboat for people that need to get sober. What do I care that what anybody who doesn't need to get sober says about me? Makes no sense at all, right? Well, but he makes me, right? They make me. It's almost silly. It really is. People, the best revenge in life is being happy. I'm dead serious. Get happy and watch what it does to the people who talk crap about you. Because what they want is to make sure that you're not as happy as you could be. Whether they even realize subconsciously why they do the things that they do, that's why they're doing it. They are. They would like to knock you down a peg. You're doing too well. He thinks he's hot, since getting sober. I liked him a lot better when he was drinking 15 beers a day. It's pretty sad. What's sadder is how many of us buy into this. I'm not busting on any of you because I love every single person on this channel, and that's from the bottom of my heart. Some more than others, but I love all of you. But I get emails from people who say, so-and-so makes me. If you knew how many of these emails I get a week, so-and-so did this and it makes me so. No, it does not. No, it doesn't. Nothing makes you anything. For real. Working too hard can make you tired. No person can make you tired, right? All of these things can make you upset. People don't make you upset. How you react to people, that's your choice. That's a decision that we make, whether you make it subconsciously or whether you sit back and go, I'm not going to let this person rent space in my dome.
I could jump in there real quick too and add
Please.
Something. Yeah, guys, he's speaking 100% truth, and about the same time he did that, I did it too. And if you guys go back and watch just some of the videos we put out, you'll definitely see an immediate difference when we did that. When we finally realized, hey, what the heck are we doing? Honestly, it's really where it came. It really was like that, and you wouldn't believe the weight it took off of both of us when we finally was like, yeah, that's gone. I mean, why are we even entertaining any of this stuff? And what bothered me a lot about all that is I knew better. I had a channel, right? Anybody that does YouTube is going to experience this. That's why I tell people to start channels. And some experience it more than others, right? And it just, there's nothing you can do to stop it. The only thing you can do is not entertain it. It's just like we talk about the thoughts that come in our head. We can't control that stuff. We can only control how we react. And the fact of the matter is, and we say this a lot too, words mean something. So when people are saying words about you or whatever is being said, we both of us be sitting here lying to you if you said it didn't bother us, because it's going to. We're human beings. That's why we chose not to look anymore. And that's the God's honest truth. Because if we see it, yeah, we can sit there and fight it, and we'll fight it. It's not going to be anything like that. But and what happens is you get wrapped up. You get wrapped up in, why are they doing? Why is this happening? Why are people saying this? Why are people saying that? And then you finally figure out that it's not about that. It's about just staying focused on what we're supposed to be doing. And the difference between that or what we do and what others do is that to this day, if some of that was to come back and some of the people were to come over here and be like, I'm sorry, this, that, or the other, we would be the ones to probably forgive, right? And you're probably not going to get that going the other direction. That's the difference, guys. And I have to point that out because it's a very significant difference, because it shows really what your motivation is. And we really do try to bring a positive environment for you guys and make it as safe as possible, and we're doing okay. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, and I have to say that it's just not. But know that we're not going to give up. It's just not going to happen.
Well, definitely not. I mean, if there's one thing I think, and I'll tell you, people, as crazy as it sounds, I'm glad that it happened. I really am. I'm glad it happened when it did, because if it had happened later on when the show had a lot more momentum, like right now, we're flying. And if it had happened now, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know whether or not I would have reacted the same way with 2,210 new people coming in a day. I might have acted a lot different than I did at 1,200, or because you do change. We really have become far more ingrained into what we're doing. A few hundred more videos. We were still learning the personality of this channel when that happened. Agreed? I mean, we were still trying to figure out exactly where we were going. We knew what we wanted to do, but it's more than knowing what you want to do. There's a complexion to a channel, and there's an attitude, and there's a spirit, and we were trying to build it, but I don't think we were there. And It was a good thing that it happened when it did. And people, if this just sounds like a couple of guys talking about YouTube, then you're missing the
point. Yeah.
Because this is the kind of thing that will happen to you every day in your life. And I'll tell you something, the answer is the same. It really is. If somebody at work is talking about you, you can engage or you cannot engage. Now, I realize it's different if somebody is 3 cubicles down, but the lesson is identical. You can immediately, I'm not going to talk to that guy about anything. And what you do is you go talk to 6 people who talk to that person every day. And you say, well, you know what he is. And you go through the same line of crap that he's doing. And you start talking back. People, you can disengage from anything negative. You can step back from any negativity in your life and logically think about the cause of what's happening. And if you start playing the game of it's just not fair or he makes me, well, then obviously you're not getting it.
Yeah, you're not in the right headspace.
You're not. And it's going to end up eating at you. It's going to end up driving you insane. And you can play into this, people, and 2 years can go by. I've talked to people who have said, you know, I'm in the worst work environment in the whole world. I got 5 people there that absolutely hate me and blah, blah, blah. And you say to them, well, you know, it does sound like a tough work. How long have you been there? 6 years. So this has been going on for 6 years. Right? Do you have any idea what that does to a person's serenity? And I'll tell you something, that's a non-issue. For air quotes, normal people, it's just going to cut down on your quality of life. Yeah. But for those of us who are on the same page here on the lifeboat, that's a direct threat to your serenity. And a threat to your serenity is a threat to your sobriety. There is no 2 ways about that. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I saw a great. Last Friday was my first show, and I haven't missed one yet. And I don't believe you drank, have you? I believe that Jason has been doing well with us, has not missed a show, and I don't believe he's had anything to drink, which is just awesome. I know he's on vacation right now, and he had thought about maybe heading down to the hotel lobby, but as told him, stronger than that. You know you're not going to do that. You know what the right thing is. But people, everything comes back down to how you react. 95% of every single thing in this world. And I don't care if it's somebody talking about you or somebody being jealous of you or somebody dying. Look, the truth of the matter is, people, that's the hardest thing in the entire world. But it's going to happen to every single person that's hearing the sound of my voice. A lot, right? A lot. We're going to have a lot of people in our lives that we love who are going to pass away. And it sucks. But 95% of it is how you deal with it. And grieving makes sense. All of those things, they're all very logical. But you know how easy it is as addicts to use any one of these things as that linchpin. Well, what do you expect, man? You know, so-and-so passed away. Yeah, I relapsed. Well, I expected you to stay sober. Maybe that's really cold-hearted, but I expect everybody to stay sober. If you've come to the realization that drugs or alcohol is killing you, or destroying your life, then I expect you to put it down and never pick it back up. Whether it's a death, whether it's a car wreck, whether it's, you know, your child getting a divorce or your kid getting kicked out of school, or you find out your kid's getting high. I expect the 95% reaction to every single thing that happens in your life, just like I expect the same damn thing in my life. We're gonna react to it the way a air quote normal person would, which is not running back to a chemical to use as a crutch to get us through those periods. And maybe that sounds like it's a tall order, but you know what? It's the lifeboat. It's what we teach, it's what we expect, and it's what everybody ought to be doing if you want to live your best life.
It is
plain and simple.
It is a tall order, but it's what we all have to do. That's the thing. And that's why we're all here together. Because we can accomplish that by leaning on each other, by doing what we do here. It helps. You know, you can take that failure rate, whatever the failure rate, and we're reducing that every day that you're here, and you're making yourself stronger. I mean, we have no, and that's the other thing too, guys. You know, we do expect a lot, right? I mean, that's just what we do. We expect the same from each other, and but at the same time, we're real about it too. We're not saying that if that was to happen, that you can't come right back into the fold, right? But
of course,
you're going to come right back into the fold, but you're also going to have to explain at least a little bit what happened so we can help you.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a family environment, and that's really what we expect. And that's all. And you ain't got to say it out in public. You know, I'm talking like in the background, guys. I'm not saying
anything. Yeah, we don't force anybody to do it. But if you don't learn from a relapse, then it really was a tragedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Relapse isn't a tragedy. It's part of, and it's why they say it's part of sobriety. It really is, especially in the beginning. A relapse is part of sobriety. However, if you relapse and nothing changes from that relapse to the next time around, then that's a tragedy. because a relapse should be a learning experience. What happened? Great example. Before I give that example, though, this is for Jason, who has not had anything to drink since finding the boat. This one's for you, brother. Well done. Proud of you. You don't know how proud I am of you. That is absolutely awesome. I mean, it really is. The dream is for people to come here to realize that, you can get through this life, without chemicals, without needing something every single day of your life. That's just no way to live. But every single relapse ought to be a learning experience. If you stumble and you find yourself using, what you need to do is take and apply the things that you learned. When I came on last night, I had a couple of people freak out, even though I said, Mark, I'm going to get emails from people that say, you relapsed. I said, I was in the process of relapse. And I absolutely was 100% in the process of relapse. I wasn't doing the things every day that I need to do in order to stay sober. Didn't lead me to my chemical of choice, thank God. But the idea is that you get yourself into a mindset where if you start getting a little off of the beaten path, right, then you realize that you're there. Now, how did that happen? I'm not a genius. I relapsed more than anybody on the planet. And every time I relapsed, well, I shouldn't say every time because I didn't learn anything for the first couple of hundred. But toward the end, I really started evaluating what happened last time. How did I go from the guy that was making money and doing well and having a wife and everything else to right back where I started from? So when I got sober the last time, I engineered everything that I do to be a signpost. And I engineered all of the things that I do with repetition to be the canary in the coal mine. If I'm not doing the things that I laid out that are part of my sobriety that you all can think are silly, like making my bed, right? Like making sure the kitty litter, that this beautiful fur ball never has to worry about a dirty litter box. May sound very insignificant, but it's not, because the old me wouldn't have cared. All of the things that I do are a declaration of I am not that old guy anymore. And I'll tell you, to bring this full circle, the old guy freaked out at things. You want to talk trash about me? I'm going to talk trash back at you, right? That's who I was. I was ready to get into any kind of confrontation at the drop of the hat, because that's who I was. That really is the person that I was. And I'm not going to lie to people. I was incarcerated. The number of fist fights that I got into while I was in there. And, people talk about prison and, they'll say, well, it's impossible not to fight in prison. And there is a decent amount of truth to that. But you can certainly avoid a lot of them. And in the very beginning, when I went in there, I wasn't trying to avoid any of them. I wasn't, if I had a feeling that something might go bad, I just started swinging. And that was who I was. It's not who I am. Now, the first thing that I do with everything that comes into my life is I evaluate, right? And this is not something you could do with chemicals racing through your body, because the chemicals will make the damn decision for you. But once you get those out of your body, if something starts making you angry, sad, any of those things, right, before you let that start taking place, you step back and you say, why am I allowing this to get to me? And you start looking at these things in a logical way, and really unusual things happen. I want to be the canary every day, and there be gas.
Yeah. Hang in there, the guy. It's a hard road, guys, and I think we all know that, and that's the thing. we understand, and that's why.
It is a hard thing.
Yeah.
And there's nobody here, Guy, that's going to tell you that this is an easy road. It isn't. But the truth of the matter is that when you're ready to make the decision to put that stuff down, we used to say in sales, if a guy's a buyer, you can't say the wrong thing to someone that's going to buy. You can't say the wrong thing to screw that person up. You can't. And if the person's not a buyer, you can't say the right thing to make them buy something. There's no way around it. You could be the greatest salesman in the entire world. If they're not somebody that's going to buy that product, that doesn't do a damn bit of good. So you were really aiming for that group of people that we're ready to buy, but we're right on the edge. When you are ready to put down that bottle, there is nothing that is going to stop you from doing that. And nothing we say here will make that one way or the other. But that's something that every single person needs to get to. I used to know a guy who did an awful lot of work with people in recovery. And he would say, you know what? He's just not ready. And he wouldn't say it mean or anything else. He would just say, yeah, he's just not ready. And I'm not busting your chops. I'm not telling you that you're not. But when the time comes that you are really ready, nothing is going to stop you, my brother. The fact that you're here every day, if you're not ready, you're damn close, because you wouldn't be here if you weren't. And I have much faith, Guy, that the day is coming where you're going to say, I got 30 days sober, and we're going to be holding up that trophy and we're going to be celebrating. We've watched this show. This has happened with so many individuals. We've had people that have been here for months listening day in, day out, before they heard something clicked, and inside themselves, they said, this is it. They drew that line in the sand. In the meantime, we love you just as much.
Exactly.
For real. We know what it feels like. That was Mr. T, wasn't it? Thank you, Mr. T. I appreciate you, my brother.
For real.
Really do.
That was
you know
really
what? T has been consistently dropping weight, people. Mr. T has been consistently dropping weight. He's also taken the guitar back up. You should see his collection of axes. Got a picture on the email of some nice stuff. I love watching people get their passion back.
That's awesome.
That's the dream of sobriety right there, people. It really is. It's one of those things that when you see somebody that's there, and honestly, Mr. T it's not something that's a real issue for the man anyway. Right. But to see the passion, that it's really something that
yeah, you're right, and I got to see that with you. With the watches, guys. I mean, I can't tell you how much of a difference it's made in Tommy's life. I know he says it does, but the thing of it is, I see it. I mean, and I know you guys aren't really privy to all that, and that's why I'm saying it, because it really, when he found that again,
right.
It really did. It really put a pep in him. I mean, he really was passionate about it. And, he's doing what he's asking people to do. He's keeping himself busy. He's finding something that he's passionate about. And he's doing that. And, and to what you said a minute ago, you're not going to be able to sell something to somebody that's a non-buyer already, right? And you're not going to be able to say the wrong thing to somebody that's already buying. But who we're talking to the majority of the time is the people that are on the fence.
No question.
Those are the people that you can influence in a positive way.
No question.
And and notice I said influence, not manipulate. There's a huge difference. Huge difference. And how do we influence? Because we live it. That's what we do. We're trying to show you, by doing what we say we ask you guys to do. And I think you've seen that many times, especially with Tommy coming out here and just sharing so much of his personal life. And you see it, guys. I mean, you see it. You see when the struggle's happening. You see when it's on a high. You're seeing all of it. And it's a really great, and I think that is why this show works in such a powerful way for people. And, and it'll pull people out of the woodwork that were just listening. It will. Because they know that this is an honest thing, and that's what most people are looking for. And you just don't get it a whole lot of areas.
Well, what the cool thing too is that we're probably just in your face enough that if you stick around, you're probably a fence sitter. You're probably somebody that's ready. How close to this is my line in the sand day differs for every person. And we've got people that we'll be here for 4 or 5 months, 6 months before that day comes. But if by some chance, hey, that's my boy, Brandon is here. No alcohol. Boy, Brandon. Not a boy, Brandon.
Awesome,
we were chatting earlier. Yeah, Brandon's doing great. I'm proud of Brandon. I really am. But people, if anything comes across today, I have said 100 times, I'll continue to say it. Inside of every single person trapped by chemicals is their best self waiting to get out. It really is. And the reason that we don't get mad if somebody goes and relapses, or we don't hate someone that stumbles, or we don't get mad at someone that goes away 5 months and then comes back. And these things happen, and they're going to continue to happen. And the reason that we don't let it really drag us down is because we have a faith that eventually every single person who just keeps coming back, and it's not because we're going to say the magic word, it's because the truth of what we talk about is evident in the people who are here listening. The crew of the lifeboat is unlike anything else you're going to find in social media, off social media, anywhere in the world, for real. This is an amazing, amazing group of people. And without fail, once or twice a week, you guys do something that just floors me, where I just want to call up everybody I know and go, let me tell you about the crew of the boat. Like, for real. It's there is a level of, I would honestly be talking around the clock, because we would just keep cranking out 2,000 to 3,000 great people on every single channel we could, and we would change the world. We got blessed beyond belief. I joke quite a bit about being the luckiest guy in the world, but it's not a joke. We really do feel like, and it's that what makes us lucky isn't that there's 2,000 people here. What makes us lucky is who the 2,000 people that are here are.
Well said.
And
very
and
well
we're really well aware of just how lucky we are that this group of people have all found each other and are willing to come back here every single night and do everything within their power to ensure that the people that stumble onto the deck of this boat feel the love that you're not going to get anywhere else.
And I think what's happening is the positivity is chipping away at that hard heart of a lot of people. It really does. We hear that term a lot, a hard heart. What's that mean? Well, it just means that you're so guarded and been in a place for such a long time that you build up just a wall, or some sort of barrier between you and the outside world. And when you come to a place like the boat and you see what everybody in there is doing, what we're doing, all that stuff, that's why you lead by example like that, because people see that it's possible and it starts chipping away. So you might not have a fence sitter, you might have somebody that's not buying, but eventually you chip away at that enough, maybe they might move over to the fence. Then if they stick around longer, maybe they'll move on over to the other side. And this process is a different time frame for everybody. We have to understand that. And that's why when somebody leaves and comes back 5 months later, we're not over here shunning people. That ain't what we do. We're forgiving people. It ain't even really about forgiveness, really, honestly. It's just about understanding that you were in a bad spot in your head. And we've been there, and we know that. And that's why we're able to, extend out that charity to people. And I really do think that is one of the most powerful tools we have here on the boat. And the thing of it is, it's not me and it's not Tommy just doing it. You got 2,200 other people in there doing it too. And that's where it's at. That's when it becomes powerful, when your peers start doing it. And that's why me and Tommy tell you all the time, we're your peers. We're not out here trying to be above anybody. And we just have a probably a more extensive knowledge on this subject than a lot of people. And that's just all we're trying to share. And we share our lives with you. We're open. And I hope you guys get that. And anybody listening that hasn't spoke, we're not talking about you have to jump out here and speak. If you're getting a lot out of this, if you want to go down a different road, and again, everybody has their own path. So just wanted to point that out.
The guy says, I want to sleep forever, though. You know what? I'm going to tell you a quick story, because this is the truth, and it's somewhat relevant. I told somebody this story 2 days ago on the telephone. This is odd as hell, but this is where my head was when I would wake up in the morning. I needed a fix. That was just, for 3 decades, I needed to get drugs into my body fast, or I was about to get really, really sick. And more often than not, no matter how much of hold on 1 second. Yes, correct. These glasses do say Anchor on them. Every morning when I would wake up, I would be feeling sick. I never had enough dope from the night before that I could wake up and which is stupid, right? But that was who I was. I would, no matter how much I had, I would always do it. And then I would have to get up in the morning and start stealing or start doing whatever I had to do. And when I woke up and my eyes would open, the first thought was always, would I rather have $1,000,000 or just be able to close my eyes right now and never open them again? And depending on the answer to that question would usually, determine the kind of day I was going to have. If I thought to myself, yeah, I'd rather have $1,000,000, I'd have all the dope I could use and I'd be set to go. Those are the days I was up, out quickly to go steal and live that life. On the other days, I was usually too depressed to even go and face that day. But it was odd because I was talking to somebody who has been sober now for a long time, but is not really happy yet in sobriety. And I was telling the story, and I just said, I remember those days. And hearing you say this right now, I remember those days. I remember the days where I wish that I could sleep forever. But I think I told Mark this yesterday. I know I've told a lot of other people, I hate going to bed and I love getting up. I got so much to do and I'm having fun doing all of it. This isn't a brag. It's just an absolute fact. I love getting up in the morning and I hate going to bed. I wish the hours were the days were 36 hours long. I have finally reached a place in my life where I am in content. And for me, the guy, there's only two things that have caused that to happen. Number one, I eliminated the chemical. That had to go. That didn't make everything right. It didn't. It just gave me some clarity so I could figure out how I wanted to live my life in such a way that I could be happy. And when I removed the chemical, there were some things about me that I found out. I couldn't find those things out while I was wasted. But what I found out is I need a mission in life. I'm that guy. I really am. I need a mission in life. And the lifeboat became that mission. I mean, there's no two ways about it. The lifeboat became that mission. And the next thing that I found was if I surround myself with things that I really enjoy, that it doesn't feel like work, and for me, I'm really into the whole horology thing and the combination of the two. And you know what, Guy, there's nothing wrong with not being there yet, but you're seeking, right? You might have a beer in your hand. Doesn't matter. You're here. And you wouldn't be here if you weren't searching for answers that you don't feel like you have yet. And that's the start to every single person that ever got sober. They know that there's a way out there that's better than the one that they're living. That's the only fact that you need to know. And there's an expression in prison. The incarcerated man only knows one thing, that it's better to be free, right? Well, the addicted person only knows one thing, if they're honest. And that fact is that it's better to be sober, right? You're never going to get to where you want to be. If you want to wake up one day and not think about how much better life would be if you could just sleep forever, then you're going to eliminate that chemical. And you might not be there yet. I ain't mad at you. Doesn't hurt how I feel about you in any way, shape, or form. But I know that day's coming, my brother. You know why? Because you're a buyer. I promise you are. You're a buyer. You wouldn't be here every day listening to me and listening to Mark, because neither of us are that good. You're here because you need a change. I'm not mad at you, and it doesn't matter to me how long it takes. I promise you I'm going to love you the entire time.
Yep.
But that day is coming, brother, because you're a buyer. You're a guy that wants his best life, and deep down you know that you're never going to hit it if you're living with that chemical. And you've also expressed some things, and I don't feel messed up at all saying it because you said it here. But there are some people that you really care about that this is affecting. And that's another reason that you're here every day. It says a lot about how big your heart is. It says a lot about who you are. So it's 95%, my brother, right? It's 5% what happens to you in life. And that 5% right now is that decisions that you've made earlier on in life have led you to an addiction. That's 5%. How you cope with that addiction, that's going to be the other 95%. But you're aware of it. You're aware of it because you're here every day and you're listening to it. So we've got very high hopes for you, my brother.
Yep.
The day is coming where we're going to be doing this one right here. I promise you, bro, the day is coming where this thing's got your name on it. We're going to be holding it up and we're going to be saying, do you remember when I told you that I was going to be holding this thing up for you? But that day is coming. You're a buyer. You are. And you know at this point that you need to eliminate that. The day where you draw that line in the sand with your foot is coming. until then, I couldn't love you anymore. I promise you I couldn't. But
yeah, and I would say this too. Anybody out there that feels that way, if you really are thinking about acting on something like that, please reach out to us. There's a number there on the bottom left of the screen. It's always there, okay? Because, and we said this before, you can't fix that. You can't come back from that. So please, just understand. I know the guy ain't probably there, and I know this is a little different, this conversation, but I just want to make sure people know that number is there, because there could be somebody listening that's feeling that way. And the thing of it is, me and Tommy, we're not going to have all the answers. It's just always.
We'll ask the right questions, though.
Yep,
I promise you.
Exactly. And
we'll ask all the right questions.
And someday, guys, maybe here in the next week or so, maybe I'll come on and share my story of that part of my life. I don't know if I've even talked to Tommy about that, but I've been in the spittle a couple times for that. So, and it was but before and during, right, my drug use. So it was something that, at some point it did have something to do with my drug use, but before my even the pain pill aspect of it, I had, some issues there, and I'm not there anymore. I mean, I just being honest, but I understand. I do. I get it, man. Life just happens, and I really think that because me and Tommy have been through quite a bit of stuff in our own personal lives, we're able to not just sympathize or empathize, but we're able to understand at a different level than most would. And I think that's kind of why we're kind of effective in what we're doing. But you know what I mean? And the thing of it is, we get a lot of that in the chat too.
No question.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lady Fiona Crispin, who I just saw in the.
Yeah, Fi's there.
Yeah, good to see you, Fi. Glad you're here.
Yeshua's in there too. Yeshua just popped in. Yeshua's disciple.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. All right, people. We are at the top of the hour. That can only mean two things. The first is that we're going to ask you in the next 24 hours between now and the time that we see you again to reach out and try to save somebody. It's what we do. And if you happen to be that person yourself, reach out and save yourself. It's probably that time to draw the line in the sand. Just saying. All right, people. We will be back tomorrow night. Same bat time, same bat channel. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Mark Wages. And
this is a cat in a basket. Oh, where are you going? Good night, everybody. What are you doing?